it is no surprise that the United States continues to back Israel. However, what is surprising is what Israel is doing to Hamas. Because what we know in the past, Russia used something to try to pull people out of hiding. And what they used, many countries called this a war crime. But now, the United States is looking into what Israel has potentially done. And I want to touch on this because this could be a huge, huge screw up, not just for Israel, but for the United States. And it's because we may have supplied them with something called white phosphorus. Now, I'm going to touch on this in today's video. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. If you enjoy these daily updates, do me a favor. Go ahead, hit that like button, and let's begin. Now, here's what you need to know about white phosphorus. It is not illegal. This is not illegal, and there are certain military applications where this can be used and should be used. However, white phosphorus, it actually burns in the air, and it can cause skin irritation, irritation to the eyes, and things like that. And it can actually cause a gastrointestinal irritation as well. So a lot of issues dealing with the human body. But I want to show you this right here, because this is what the Biden administration is saying. The Biden administration is concerned about reported Israeli use of white phosphorus. This is according to John Kirby. Now, we're going to read through this article here from The Hill, because what he has to say, again, extremely important, because we are continuing to provide additional assistance to Israel. But do we continue to provide this assistance if they went too far in one direction and use white phosphorus? Well, let's go ahead and read this, because as of right now, many Republicans are stating that additional aid to Israel is not going to happen this month. It could potentially happen in January, but we're going to have to wait and see. Let's continue reading this article. It says right here, White House National Security spokesman John Kirby said the Biden administration is concerned about new reports that Israel used white phosphorus munitions supplied by the United States in an attack in Lebanon. Says, we've seen the reports, certainly concerned about that. We'll be asking questions to try to learn a little bit more. Well, this was reported by the Washington Post. It was reported by Reuters. It was reported by many media outlets across the world as well. But it says right here, the Washington Post reported Monday that U.S. supplied white phosphorus was used by Israeli forces in an October attack in southern Lebanon that injured at least 9 civilians. The concern is what is going on with civilians. White phosphorus, okay, you can fill shells with white phosphorus. They can go and impact a whole community. This is something that we cannot have. Okay, let's keep reading. It says, I do think it's important to remind that white phosphorus does have a legitimate military utility, and obviously anytime that we provide items like white phosphorus to another military, it is with the full expectation that it would be used in keeping with those legitimate purposes and in keeping with the laws of armed conflict. That's what John Kirby had to say. It says right here, white phosphorus is a wax-like chemical substance that ignites when encountering oxygen. It's usually not considered a chemical weapon, but human rights groups regularly criticize its use in warfare. And goes on to say, it has uses that are legitimate and not actions of chemical warfare, such as signaling troops or providing cover. But its use in military attacks has drawn fierce criticism because of how white phosphorus can hurt civilians. Now, that's all I want to talk about on that one. Because here's the problem. Russia was accused of using white phosphorus. This was back when they first started to invade Ukraine and especially attack Kyiv. Well, when they were reportedly using white phosphorus, the world went just insane. The United States placed additional sanctions on them, and things again went even further. Well, here's where we are now starting to get into a very tricky situation. How can Russia use white phosphorus on Ukraine and they are getting in trouble for it? But now there's reports that Israel used white phosphorus, okay, in Lebanon. But there was nothing really said about that. And now we're getting those reports. They're hitting mainstream media. And now the people are questioning, what is Israel really doing? And why is the United States continuing to back Israel? Well, this is going to bring a lot of things into question. The reason why I bring this up today is because we are now hearing more and more reports that Republicans and some Democrats do not support additional funding to Israel at this time. They want to have conditions. They want to make sure Israel is going to be accepting of this money and that it's used in the right purpose, the right manner. But again, it's going to come down to the conditions. Also, are we going to tie this funding for Israel to funding to Gaza and funding to Ukraine? The answer is potentially yes. The expectation is if we see a bill that's going to send any additional funding to Israel, it will be tied to Ukraine. And if it is, that bill is likely to be tied to border security. So Republicans will get something and Democrats will get something. But again, exactly what's in this bill, how it's going to impact you, that we don't know. So make sure you stick around. Okay, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening over the next 3 to 6 months. My guess is in the next month, okay, because right now it is December 11th. On January 19th, a government funding bill has to be passed for the United States to continue to operate the way we have been. If not, agencies will be closed down. So, what does that mean? That means over the next few weeks, first off, over the next about 2.5 weeks, okay, until we get to the end of December, lawmakers are going to be on recess. That is why some are saying we're not going to pass a bill in December. That bill is going to get pushed back into January. And when that happens, here's what you should expect. Expect anything for Israel, anything for Ukraine, anything for border security, anything for Gaza. All those things are going to be on the back burner because the most important thing to the American people is, are we keeping our government open? Are we operational? That means we have to pass a new government funding bill or a stopgap bill before January 19th. So again, a lot of stuff happening right now. The expectation is we will come to some type of agreement. We will pass a government funding bill. Our agencies will stay open. Everything will be functional as normal, but it's going to push back all the additional funding for Ukraine, Israel, and Gaza, most likely to the end of January, if not sometime in February. So that's what's happening at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I will see you guys on the next one.